Welcome to the Taylor Made Tasty podcast. I'm Taylor, retired serial quitter turned goal boss coach, speaker, and consultant. I believe a beautiful life starts with a beautiful mindset. Join me as we amplify confidence, resilience, and actionable tools on the road to quit quitting on you and your vision. You are worthy of your goals, so let's go get there. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Taylor Made Tasty, the podcast. I'm about 10% less nervous this time around. It's been a wild ride since the launch, and I am so grateful to have you in this space. So thank you for being here. Full disclosure, I know we are early on in our podcast relationship, but I'm going to be talking about butt stuff today. So get excited and stay tuned. But first, as a goal-setting coach, I like to create inspiration through application. Recently, I announced on Instagram that I am training to run a marathon. For the sake of this platform, I'm going to assume you have no idea what I look like, as this is audio only. I am a 200+ pound woman training to run a marathon. Just saying that, I am blowing my own damn mind. Obviously, that doesn't mean it can't be done, just means that I will have some additional obstacles in my way. And I was trying the other day to articulate my feelings on training to be a plus-size marathoner. And I never want it to feel like, in spite of my size, look what I did. I want it to feel like, look at what you can do at all sizes. And again, looking to inspire through application, I am here to push my body's capabilities in order to give you permission to show up the same way, to show up that you've never felt like a runner. I have never been a runner, ever. But I'm going to show myself that I can be a runner. Tailor-made runner, in progress, under construction, all of those things. And I'm ready to go get there. That's it. I'm ready to go get there. So like I said, I've never been a runner. Honestly, most of my running memories have really bad memories around them. So we used to do this Monday mile. And your girl had boobs very early on in her life. And so Monday Mile, I just remember getting teased about my chest and how they were bouncing. And I'm sure I didn't have the greatest sports bras back then. So I remember that aspect of it and it being very hard. I remember even then I was goal setting. So my goal on Monday Mile, you imagine the track, right? A normal high school, junior high track that's out there. My goal was to run the long sides and walk the short round part, right? The semicircle, right? So that was my goal during Monday Mile. Like, Taylor, just run the long part, take a little break, and walk the short curve, and then run the long part again. Because I could never finish. They gave us some sort of timeline that we had to finish in, and I felt like I could never finish, or if I did finish, I was always dead last. And so that was my start of my running history, right? And then when I went into, and that was in middle school. When I went into high school, I had never even heard of the sport water polo ever, never heard of it. But someone asked me to show up to tryouts, and I went to tryouts and I ended up playing for the next 3 years. But part of the training of water polo was they wanted us to run because you're swimming a lot, getting that endurance up, the breathing, right? All of that. And so on those days, we were running off campus I would, even with some of my girlfriends, we would hide and then meet up with the group later on. I would go so hard in the pool with swimming and the drills and all of that. But ask me to run, I'm not here for it. So that is the second piece of the history, right? And then the third piece of my history of running is I was going to a cycle studio, and my mom was also a client of the same studio, and the studio itself was one of the sponsors of an 8K in the local neighborhood. And my mom signed up and said, I want to sign you up too. My retired serial quitter brain said to myself, if I'm going to sign up for an 8K, I'm running it. I am running the bitch. Like, I'm not walking. I'm not going, this isn't a leisurely thing where I'm just having fun with it. This was a goal that I wanted to obtain. Because if you're going to sign me up, I'm 100% into it. I had 10 days. She told me 10 days before the 8K. I had not been on a run since probably high school. I just made a training plan for myself. So day one, okay, let's see. Can you run a mile? Thankfully, I had been going to cycle and Zumba for a year at least at this point. So my endurance was up. My breath work was good. My stamina was there. So I don't want to give the perception that I was starting from ground zero, because I was not. But again, I wasn't running. I was cycling and I was doing Zumba. Running is a whole nother beast. So I said, just run a mile. Just do it this long. And I immediately had cramps, and I had I remember the first time I ran, my leggings were too big and they were falling, and I was just like, this is torture. This is horrible. But after those 10 days during the race, I ran the entire thing. And even my mom at points of the race said, if you hadn't kept going, I would have stopped. And I said to her, even during then, we're not stopping. I am running this. You can sit here, you can take a breath, but I'm not taking a breath. I am running this. And that was an 8K, and I believe it was 45 minutes. So I was really proud of that. That was an amazing accomplishment. And then I just stopped again. And how the Taylor brain works should be studied, really, because it's quite literally just an idea that seemingly comes out of thin air, and I latch onto it and think, let's see what this body can do. That 8K was in 2018. We're now in 2022. I just latch on to some idea that comes in my head, and let's see if my body can run a marathon. Let's see if Taylor can do this, right? So that is really most of my business and my life is saying, I have an idea. My husband gets very worried about when I say, I have an idea, because I have them a lot. In order to take this massive, scary, startling, unreasonable goal, we need to break it down, right? I need to take this big old goal and I need to break it down. And in order to do that, I like to work backwards. As I'm sharing this training journey with one of my best friends, Brea, who you will be hearing from soon on this podcast, we set up a Zoom call and laid everything out together. In my coaching, I teach the concept of a funnel. You start at the top with your vision. You break that into goals. You break that into milestones, and you break that into tasks or action. So the funnel of my marathon training is complete couch to 5K, complete a 5K, complete couch to 10K, complete a 10K, complete couch to half marathon, complete a half marathon, complete 18-week Peloton marathon training program, complete marathon. And the next step in my coaching with goal setting is that you take your milestones and you attach them to a timeline. And since Brea and I decided we want to train for an entire year, the marathon will be in November of 2022. And this is where we work backwards. So now that we know, okay, the marathon is in November of 2022, we need to look up which weekend it's going to be, where's the location, all of that, and then work backwards from there. We came up with a 5K by January, a 10K by March, a half marathon by June, and following the half, we would immediately start the Peloton Marathon training program, which is 18 weeks leading you into the marathon. And this is the concept that I teach with every single vision that you can hold. Every vision that you can hold for your life, massive, scary, small, little, big, whatever it is that you want to see happen for your life, breaking it down into this funnel makes it more attainable, eliminates the overwhelm, eliminates the stress because now you have a plan. And I will say this 1,000 times on this podcast. Please know that, and I will never apologize for it. Action cures everything. So if you are confused, you are overwhelmed, you have no idea, you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, I don't know where to start. Take action. Use this funnel method. What is the vision? What is the goal? What are the milestones? What actions do you need to take? And then apply those actions into a calendar. Bada bing, bada boom. That will get you there. I promise that will get you there. So how is training going? I am just finishing up Couch to 5K, and my 5K is actually happening next week. And the theme is Winter Dragon. So if you all have some sort of idea of what I should dress up or the theme I could go with, please let me know. You can DM me on Instagram at TaylorMadeTasty. I'm just like, what is this Winter Dragon? But the date and timing of everything worked out perfectly. So very excited for that. Oh my gosh, so many things have happened in training. I do remember week 1, even before I had started Couch to 5K, I didn't stretch. I didn't warm up. I just walked out of my house like I knew what I was doing and just started running. And immediately I had this crazy pain coming down my inner thigh, like from my groin down my inner thigh. The way I was quote unquote running was more like skipping almost because I was favoring one leg over the other because of this pain. And my husband said to me, you need to warm up. From that point on, started warming up on the bike. And that was such a game changer. Definitely helped a ton. Okay, I promised you I'd talk about butt stuff, so here it goes. Very early on, like I'm talking day 2 of running, I have a bit of a bottom, right? And oh my gosh, the butt chafing. Like I'm talking right up the crack-a-doodle-doo. The butt chafing is just happening. So I had messaged Brea. I told my husband, obviously, but I messaged Brea and I'm just like, girl, this butt chafing, what the hell? So this is TMI, but it's my podcast, so I can say whatever I want. I'm not a full booty underwear woman. I am a thong wearing woman. And I think that that's more harmful than good when you're running. And the type of underwear that you wear when you're running is very important. And there are solutions for that too. But I was just appalled by the feeling that was happening in my booty after running. I was like, oh my gosh. But if you think about it, you're sweating down your back into what is your butt crack, right? And then everything's just jiggling and shaking and all the things. So you have some moisture and rubbing, and it's just not great. So again, that happened very early on, and I was like, what is this? This is gonna stop me from running because I don't like this feeling, and this is uncomfortable now when I'm not running. But I have since taken care of it in different ways, so I think we're good. Honestly, it is better for me to run free ball in it than it is for me to run with underwear. So that has helped a lot. And then if on days where I know that I'm going to get extra sweaty, there are solutions that you can glide on there, if you will, that will help you with that. But just know, ladies, if you got some junk in the trunk, it's going to be rubbing around. It's cool. Yeah, it looks cool, right? Ooh, the little bouncing butt, but it does not feel cool. And then one of the most impactful days actually was when my music stopped working. So I was running outside and the internet is a bit spotty in my small town in Texas, and the internet stopped working and I did not get data, nothing, Wi-Fi, nothing. And I had no music. And so that moment, you can hear your breathing, right? You can hear every foot that hits the ground. You can hear your breathing. You can hear it all. And that was really so impactful because I've done a ton of breath work to really understand when I'm breathing in, when I'm breathing out, getting into a rhythm, just fueling your body through breath. And so not having music on is actually a really good thing that I try to do every so often. And then the other piece was getting hands-free water bottles. Game changing. So I had been holding my water bottle, and then my mom offered me her set that she used when she was running, and that was such a game changer. 10 out of 10, highly recommend getting some sort of hands-free water bottle contraption, right? It's so interesting because it's just like life, right? We have good days, we have bad days, we have days that feel like we are in our stride, we are killing it, and then we have days where it just feels off. And running is the same. I'd say by week 3, I started to feel in my stride. And I was actually forced on week 3 to take a break because I received a facial peel, and the way that the solution works going into your skin underneath the first layer of your skin, if you are to warm up, that solution also warms up and can be pretty, can wreak havoc on your face, apparently. So you can't get warm, you can't take hot showers, you can't have hot sex, and you can't work out. So the facial peel made me have to take a break, and that break was 72 hours. So I ran the morning of the facial peel, and then I couldn't run for 3 days. And the minute I could run again, I did in the afternoon on that 72-hour day. That's when I felt most in my stride, and it was just such a testament to breaks being so necessary to, if you draw back a little bit, launching yourself even further the next time that you come back, right? And then you have those days where you just feel slow and sluggish. And on week 4, I felt my legs were just made of iron. I couldn't move them, and it was the hardest run to date at that time, that I just felt sluggish and I wanted to slow down so bad. But that was actually a day that I hit 2 miles. So it's really interesting because I've had a few of those now where the day you don't want to do it, or the day it feels the hardest, you actually go the furthest. And I just love as a goal setting coach, the parallels between running and life, and the training and life and routine and discipline and habits and life. It's just, there are so many parallels that are so beautiful. I did try week 4 again. I tried to incorporate strength training through boxing, and honestly, because of the footwork in boxing, it just hurt my feet. And the next time that I ran, it didn't do me any good. So I am going to slowly figure out how to incorporate that over time too, as I know running plays into a lot of different body parts, and getting those stronger is only going to make me a stronger runner. And lucky me, your girl received a Peloton tread for Christmas from my husband, Santa. Love him. So thankful for that. It's just such a cool symbol of him supporting my goals. Because we are in Texas, the summers are going to make it very hard to be training outside. And this tread is really going to be such a cool tool that I can use indoors when the weather is just not on our side. I also received running shoes from my mom, another symbol of incredible support on this journey. Breaking in those new shoes has been fun. I also learned about the marathon tie. So YouTube that ASAP. If you're a runner, a walker, I think the marathon knot, the runner's knot, marathon tie, whatever you want to call it, you can YouTube it. And it has made such a big difference in the shoes. What's interesting is the new shoes and the tread combined, I have some shin splint issues that are happening. So that's been a new thing, a new hurdle coming up, right? Which brings up a good point, is that in your goal setting, one of the last things that I always have my clients do is identify upfront what the hurdles could be. So with marathon training or wanting to complete a marathon, the hurdles for me could look like injuries. The hurdle is discipline. This takes an incredible amount of discipline. And that's not even to say that it's physical discipline. At some point later on in your training, it takes time discipline. You're running every day for hours. You're running every other day for hours and hours. This is an accomplishment that will take a lot of your time. So acknowledging that as it could be a hurdle depending on what your family life looks like, or your business or work or other things that demand your time in your life, right? Good, solid goal setting will always have you include what your hurdles could be. Well, I get this question a lot on Instagram, and I thought that I would answer it here, is what supplements do I take? And let me just say this right now, I am not a doctor. You should talk to your doctor, or you could be like me and talk to your best friend who's a nurse. She advised me on everything that I'm going to let you know that I use. About 20 minutes prior to any sort of running or working out, I take pre-workout. And in that same bottle, when I'm done drinking that, I don't shoot it. Some people shoot it dry, the powder, the pre-workout powder. I do not shoot it. I drink it quickly, but I drink it. And in that same shaker, then I fill it back up and I put BCAAs in there, and I put those in the refrigerator. Then I work out. While I'm working out, I have electrolytes in my water. So I have just hydration drops that I put in my water that have electrolytes in them. And that's what I'm drinking while I'm working out. Then once I'm done working out, I take the BCA out of the refrigerator and I drink that immediately after. Every night prior to bed, I take magnesium glycinate. I take 400 milligrams of that. I believe you can take up to 800, but again, not a doctor. So that's high absorption. It's gentle on your stomach. but it's rebuilding all of the good stuff in our bodies while we're sleeping, right? And not necessarily running related, but my other supplements that I take would be a daily vitamin, vitamin C. I hope that's helpful for you. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to your doctor. But if you have goal setting questions and milestone questions and how to break them down, you absolutely can reach out to Dr. Taylor Made Tasty. And I have some prescriptions I can help you with those things. All right, so we have come to the quote of the week, and I am excited to share this one with you. Shake up your mindset. Get you going into your week. The quote is, "The trouble with not having a goal is that you can spend your life running up and down the field and never score." I love that. I love that so much because you're not just doing this thing called life to just go on the hamster wheel over and over and over. Right? You don't climb a mountain and go back down and not acknowledge the beauty and surroundings and the view from the top when you get there. Having goals, having a vision, having your dream, creating passion in your life that leads to that ultimate vision for your favorite version of life, that is why we have goals. Because we're not just running up and down the field, never looking to score. We are going to score over and over and over again because your hard work is going to align with your goals. I am so glad you showed up today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being in my community. And let's go get there. Look at you, crushing it. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Taylor Made Tasty podcast. My hope is you always leave with a takeaway to implement in your own goal-crushing journey. I would love if you could take a moment to leave a review. And if you're looking for a community of goal boss badasses just like you, be sure to check out tailormadetasty.com/membership.